Welcome back to Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. My name is Avery. This is the Stadia Source Roundtable Podcast, episode 56, and we've got a great show for you tonight, so let's get to it. With me, as always, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the founder, the originator, the scientist that brewed this up in a lab, Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Dan Wheeler.
Hello, just the ginger one will do for the next one.
Oh, ginger one.
Oh no, it's getting worse every time, Dan. Just be aware. It's coming. Right below him, we've got the most incredible brand manager any company on the face of this planet has ever had. I'm not kidding. You'll find out why here in the next few weeks. It's Miss Scarlet Stream.
Hiya, Charma Finches.
Oh, that's a nice one. Because Charm City and then Charm the see, it's all fits. I'm a Finch. I'm sorry, I don't know. You may know our guest from his streams giving you the Recon, the Red Dead, or the Real Talk. It's Stadia Vet Gaming.
Oh, I had myself muted. Hello, everyone. I had muted myself and didn't even realize it. A legend has arrived to invade Stadia Source.
Good to have you on tonight, Vet. We will learn more about you in just a sec. But before we do, did you know you can get the Stadia Source Roundtable Podcast as an actual podcast in your earbuds? Search for Stadia Source on Spotify, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get fine podcasts. Also, if you're watching us live, we obviously want you to be a part of the conversation, as so many of you already are. Be sure to say hi in the chat, and if you really want to zig ah, and make sure that we bring up your chat. Thank you. I saw that, Scarlett. Thank you. If you want to make sure we bring up your very important thing that you need to tell us during the show, hit that super chat button or the super sticker. We love those too. And that shows your support for Stadia Source. Last but not least, you can join Stadia Source right here on YouTube. Members get great perks at every level of your budget. Just click the join button down below. Vet, so good to have you on the show tonight. For those who may not be familiar, I'm just going to cover your face, apparently. So we're going to have to move that. Nope, that doesn't work either. So we're going to just get rid of it real quick and toggle some StreamYard settings because how hilarious is that? Just right in your face. Just right in your face.
I got to set up a little to get that seen.
So, Vet, for those who may not know you and haven't had a chance to catch your streams, tell us a little bit about you, your history of gaming, and how you got into Stadia.
History. I started with I think the first game system I ever played was an Atari 2600, and it was Tank was the first game what got me into gaming. And I moved on from Atari to Nintendo, went to Super Nintendo. Then I shifted from Nintendo to Sega because, at the time, that's all it was Nintendo, Sega. And then Sony got in the mix, so I was a Sony fan. And then Xbox dropped, so I jumped onto that one to try that out. And I've been all over the place ever since. Streaming-wise, I started with, I think when I first got into streaming, it was only like 2, maybe 3, not even I haven't even hit my 3-year mark as a streamer. I started like October of 2018 in retro. All I did was retro gaming, Nintendo, Game Boy, all of that stuff. And as soon as I found out Google was getting into the gaming industry with Stadia, I hopped on board that almost immediately. I was a day one founder. They bought a crap ton of games. As soon as it went, they started posting them, and my wallet is mad at me because I've never stopped buying games ever since. And I slowly transitioned when I was ready. When I started streaming Stadia, I was under a different name. I was U.S. Army Veteran Gaming, and somebody came in the chat and said, "Oh, that is a long name to say." So I was like, "All right." So I stopped, thought about it, and then Stadia Vet was born, and I've kind of just gone with that. And I started off slowly, and I've kind of built up this persona as being Stadia's craziest SOB. So I kind of stuck with it, and it's just blossomed into this beautiful thing where I'm just the crazy one that just goes wherever and I do whatever I want. That moniker has stuck with me, so I just roll with it at this point.
Very fun, and obviously Army vet.
Yes, yep. I was in Afghanistan, Iraq as a paper pusher. I was a human resources, but people know that when you make friends with HR, because if you get on an HR person's bad side, paperwork magically disappears somehow. And I never understood that one.
Well,
so nobody likes to piss off somebody that does HR. So
understandable. Well, paper pusher or no, thank you for doing a thing that I would not do. Chubby guy here, staying firmly out of the desert. So I applaud anybody and lots of vets in my family. So
they send you in first as cannon fodder.
You went through basic, right? Here, take a rifle and go. Yeah. No. So good to have you on the show tonight. Glad you can be here to discuss all the week's Stadia news. But of course, before we get into the actual news of the week, we want to give everybody a chance to talk about what has been occupying their time, playtime wise. And I'm going to go first this week because I spent a lot of time this week playing Stadia. I know. Shock, amazement. Everybody take your aspirin for the heart palpitation.
I don't know who you are anymore.
The host of a Stadia podcast actually played Stadia this week. I played quite a bit of Avicii and Vector. I love Guitar Hero type games, Res type games. Like those are my games. Audio, like big fan of that. So Avicii and Vector was super fun, real challenging. Like it's the same thing that happens every time you play like a Beat Saber or a Guitar Hero. You play it on easy mode to start, and you're like, oh, this is kind of lame because it's a tap. Tap. So you're like, you know what? I'll just crank this up a few notches because I'll be able to handle that. So of course then I cranked it up a few notches and we're like, no, nothing's working. Why am I not? I'm missing everything. So I need medium is where I need to be on these things until I've got to hang with. I also played a little bit of El Hijo. Iho.
El Hijo.
As El Iho, as we all know.
Hi, Joe.
Super fun, really cute style. I was not as good at it as I had liked to have been. I thought I would do better, but I did not. And then I also started playing a little bit Pixel Junk Raiders, and I kind of agree with everybody. I will say the difficulty curve wasn't that big of a deal to me. It's just kind of boring. Like, I was just not like that interested in that game. So it might just not be my style. Like, I like, and I will also say, could be the same thing that happened to me with Borderlands 3, where I played Borderlands 3 for 30 minutes, didn't really care about it, and then just left. And then I came back a year later and completed the entire main story because I loved it. It was a fantastic game. So that might be what I need to do, is just give Pixel Junk Raiders some time, and see if they sharpen things or whatever, and it comes back on me, and maybe I'll like it then. So who knows? We'll go counterclockwise today. Vet, what has been on your playlist, Stadia or otherwise?
Mostly Stadia. That's pretty much all I tap into at this point. I have dived into some other cloud stuff. I tried xCloud. It's not for me. There's just too many issues, and I don't like to sit on my phone and game that as much as I would prefer. I need a bigger phone, but I'm not cool enough like Anthony, who has the big foldable phones. I can't do all of that. But a lot of Stadia, Red Dead Redemption 2 online, Ghost Recon. I bought like 5 games in the last 3 days because Stadia keeps having to put out these ridiculous sales that but I keep hearing that Stadia is dead, and I just don't understand because my wallet says and my bank account say that Stadia is not dead. So, but yeah, a lot of Red Dead Online. I've had way too much fun with that game. And I don't really do anything. Like, people watch me play it when I stream it, and I don't do missions. I just run around and shoot people. So I bought FIFA. I have not played it yet because I'm not a soccer player. So, but I have made the announcement that the first time I score a goal, shirt's coming off, and I'm running around my room screaming goal. So I think that'll be what everyone's going to be waiting on for that game. And I've been playing some PlayStation Now as well, which has been running.
How do you find PS Now? The thing that I've heard a lot of folks say, and Bill and Lloyd have talked about this on StadiaCast, is that like 6 months ago, it was not great, but they've improved everything just kind of quietly under the hood, and now it's actually pretty good.
I don't know what they did, because I tried it I think the last time I tried it out was like a year ago, and it was awful. So they did stuff behind the scenes and just didn't even announce anything. And I signed up for a year subscription, tried it out, and I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I would not have known that if I took away all my stream overlay stuff and just watched it on YouTube, I would have thought I was just somebody was playing it and live streaming off of their PS4. It ran that well. I would almost put it on par with Stadia, but not anywhere near it, because you can't buy games. You can only play it on Windows, and you can only use a PS4 controller, which kind of irritates a lot of people from what I've heard. So, but it's definitely made improvements that I wasn't even aware of, because Sony doesn't announce anything except for when their PlayStation server gets hacked.
That's true.
Very, very cool. Apparently, other folks were quite surprised that I played stuff on Stadia this week, which is probably not a good sign that many folks are surprised that I play games on Stadia. It's probably not a good sign to be on this roundtable podcast. Pointing at things on an audio medium is not great. So yeah, but it is what it is. Continuing the counterclockwise, Scarlett, did you get even 5 minutes to play? I know you've been in Woodworld.
I actually have. I had a little bit of time to play some stuff today. All my things are falling over there. I have restarted my Animal Crossing island, and that was painful, but it was necessary because I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing anymore. I went into my game, and the game was like, you haven't been in here for 11 months. And all of my islanders are like, why did you abandon us? It was like, okay, I can't deal with your stress right now. I'm starting over. So
separation anxiety from your Switch is not great.
So I restarted, and I've been playing some more Pokemon Cafe Mix because mobile games are like all I can do right now. So yeah. But I have been doing a lot of other important things, like the wood crafting and a butt ton of graphic design. So I have not been idle. I have been busy.
I clearly like there is no better source for your graphical needs than Scarlet. So
Thanks,
Mr. Speaking of the source, it's the source of all things Stadia source. Daniel, what's been on your playlist, Stadia or otherwise?
So I probably played one of the least expected games that you could ever expect me to play, and I bet if I give you a
stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks,
I bet if I give you 100 guesses and you didn't look at my Stadia play history, you'd never guess what game I played. But it was well, I'll give you one. Just one guess. No, it was NBA 2K21.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I mean, it's free at the moment to play anyway, because they've got a free play weekend, even though it's not the weekend, it's the week.
Well, they call it free play days.
Yeah, but they called it weekend on the actual Stadia website. I was like, okay, it's not actually a weekend, but I'll let you off.
what does time mean anymore anyways? It's all the weekend, it's all the week.
I mean, we're an hour early here for us UK folks, so yeah, but I kind of jumped into that game. Number one, because it's free. Number two, I hadn't ever played an NBA game before, so I wanted to see if it was something I could get into. Apparently not, because I didn't have a clue what was going on, and I got my butt whipped about 100 to 30 or something. I managed to figure out if you hold like the X button, you can shoot, and you obviously have the bar that you have to try and get it in at the right time.
Which is kind of a necessary thing in a basketball game.
But I could not figure out how to get the ball off the opponent. So as soon as they got the ball, I was just like, right, go ahead, score.
I was playing Grid, and I found out that if you hold down the A button, you accelerate. And that's kind of important. I didn't know why my car wasn't moving for an hour and a half. I was staring at it, and
I played one game which lasted like 40 minutes. I was like, no, I can't be involved with this. So I got like one achievement out of it. I'll take that. And then probably, I mean, I've got NBA 2K20 as well, because I remember it was on sale for like a couple of pounds or something at one point. And I was just like, you know what? Why not? Because someone's going to play it at some point. So
wait, am I being dumb here? Is 2K21 newly released? And
I think like, 2K21 came out like
2K21. It's a few months old now, but obviously 2K20 was like, I'm not sure if it came out one of the launch games or shortly afterwards.
Okay, my brain was just not connecting that there are both of those games on the list. I suppose I could click the we do have this amazing thing called the games page at stadiasource.com. So NBA. Let's see if your search box works here, Daniel. Yes, 2K20 and 2K21. So how did I not know we had both of those games? I'll tell you why, because I don't play sports games. So.
Yeah, neither do I. But Inane Adam asking me if it's the next gen or last gen. I could not tell you because I don't know.
Probably the last gen as a good bet. Probably hasn't received like the upgrades or anything.
It looked nice. It played well from what I did play. Obviously, like the audio and just the feel of the game was crisp, but I couldn't tell you whether it's. I'm sure they're both quite similar to one another, but other than that, I played a bit of Minecraft because I don't know. I just was in one of those moods where I really couldn't be bothered to play anything that required thought. Just wanted to go in and place some blocks and remove some blocks, I guess. And
I don't understand Minecraft. I cannot get myself to understand it. To me, it's just like Legos to me, and I just don't. Well, I know there's more like to it. I just don't.
That you can do like you have to follow the achievements, and you have to like collect all this stuff. And
I just like the chill out factor. I put it on creative mode, and it's like I try just and
fly around
like the house that I'm in now, for example. Like try to recreate the layout of the house I'm in now, or I don't know, just try and create a little village or something. I just love the kind of laid back feel of it when you can't be bothered to.
Is that what the Terraria? Is that what that's like too? Then I don't. Those are just not my style games, I guess.
Yeah, and I played a little bit of Pokemon Shield because one of the guys that used to be on this podcast, Lord Moore, actually bought the game and wanted to challenge me against my level 100 Pokemon. So, big mistake.
Terribly.
So I've actually done more gaming this week than I have. Plus, actually, I'm on lockdown at the moment because apparently I was near someone that had coronavirus, and I had a text message come through saying, you need to stay in your house for 10 days and not go anywhere or do anything or have fun. So, yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the house at the moment. So what better thing to do than game and work on the website? So
there you go.
Stadia for the win.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, yeah. Good stuff. I also played some Final Fantasy 14. I just didn't bother to say it because, of course, I did. But good stuff. Well, hey, a very wide variety of gaming has occurred for our people on the podcast tonight. So, well, good. Before we get, I don't know why I'm not able to segue into the next thing. I have show notes documents. I'm sitting here going, hubba hubba. So I will do a quick round of shout outs to all the folks in the chat that I have not already had a chance to pull up on screen because I certainly appreciate you. Link TV, former guest, good friend of the show, saying heyo to Link TV. Mr. Urban World in there as well. Try to find like you're just talking trash to Anthony. So it's hard for me to find a chat. We're just going to say hi to you because I can't actually pull anything up from you. Dr. Spaceman, good buddy of the show. Always good to see you. Ray Sherrod, Ray, our favorite gaming cyborg. And lots of love going out to you right now. I know you're going through some family stuff at the moment. So lots and lots of love going out to you right now. Christopher Torres says, hey, NBA 2K21 is a good game. So good game over there.
I'm sure it's a good game for people that know what the hell they're doing. So
I saw that. I saw what you were about to say there, and that didn't happen there. And a bunch of other folks in the chat saying hi, so we're going to see you. And there's somebody in our green room. Should I bother? You know what? We're gonna let Vet choose whether or not we actually let this person come on the show 21 minutes late because he got caught in traffic. Whatever. So, Vet, should I bring him in or no?
Go for it. It should be fun.
Okay,
I want to hear the excuse.
We'll say
Look,
hi.
He's already covering his face.
He's moved off the farm and onto a plantation. No, that was a wrong thing for me to say for multiple reasons that I'm just now realizing. So
yeah, for multiple reasons.
Okay, so first of all, can you guys hear me?
Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Barely,
right,
sort of.
Cool. Listen, I ran in the door. Crazy. It was ended up being a car accident, blah, blah, blah. Listen, here's the thing. That's the only person I won't have beef with because he's so crazy. He might actually come to my house and kill me. But,
he does his way around that HR paperwork to file on your death. You know.
Exactly. You got to watch out for these paper pushers, man. But I listened to the whole show in the car. So technically it should be my time to say what I played on Stadia. Or anything.
Oh, no.
Sure. So let's get into the news roundup. We're going to so joining us late, it's everybody's favorite cowboy. It's the all-purpose champ. It's Anthony.
Because I'm a cowboy. Oh man. All right. So
I see you've basically put like the Bridgerton house in your background. Have you been watching British dramas? Notice how that's a much better thing for me to say? Yeah.
I upgraded the farm a little bit, so I decided, let's buy some new real estate, a little more fancy,
Very nice. Well, Anthony, what have you been playing this week, Stadia or otherwise?
All right, so guys, listen. I don't care if you don't Marvel.
No. Pause. Hold on.
I knew it.
Dr. Spaceman said the funniest thing, and I had to bring this up. The cowboy's always late because his horse wouldn't start. That is the funniest thing I've heard in a very long time. I'm just picturing like I couldn't.
The tail is slowly clicking in the background.
Just can't. Okay, that is too much. I'm good. I'm broken now. Anthony.
You know what? I thought I was done with this Dr. Spaceman. I thought him and I was cool now.
Never done with Dr. Spaceman.
He hung out with Stadia Vet, so what can I say?
Oh my god! Horse emojis in the chat, everybody. All right, Anthony, what's on your playlist?
Okay, all right. So now, before I was rudely interrupted by a spaceman, guys, Marvel Avengers DLC came out today, and I haven't played it yet, but I will be playing it on Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews, later on tonight at 7 p.m. But guys, I've been playing so much Avengers because I was leading up to this DLC. And man, the game is awesome. But I'm not gonna try to sell you on the game. The game's awesome though. So I've been playing a lot of Marvel Avengers. I always throw in Scott Pilgrim, man. That's the game where I told you guys before it came out that I was gonna be a fan. And because I used to love it. And I just been beating people up, picturing Avery's face on all the little characters. And now I got a picture of Dr. Spaceman face on there. But
it's funny that you say Avery's face when Ray actually has a Scott Pilgrim icon.
You can literally pretend to beat Ray's face because it's from the game. Luna did that.
That is true. I was trying to be easy on Ray because he's actually, away in the hospital this week for his son. Them testing the seizures. So shout outs to Ray, and I hope everything goes good. So I've been kind of laying off of Ray this week, But Avery's always a great backup, So, but yeah, guys, I'm the guy. I used to be like you, Avery. I would play one game and one game only, and then I would realize, like, man, I play in Destiny my whole life. I'm missing out on the rest of the world. So Dan knows exactly what that's like. But now I just play games for like my attention span is like quick. I'll play something for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But yeah, I just been popping around playing a bunch of stuff. But those are probably my main two games I've been playing. What's pretty much Avengers.
Very cool.
But I mean, I've been pretty much playing like everything. But Avengers has been my thing. And guys, please watch the stream on Stadia Source today. It's gonna be epic. And also, I'm gonna play some multiplayer so you guys could jump in with me. I know a bunch of people actually bought the game today because it's on sale. Yeah. I'm done.
Oh, okay, good. I can have my show now.
Oh man.
Oh, I'll wait. I got all night. Time changed in Britain. They got extra time tonight. It's fine.
That is true.
Or time changed here, but up there. Well, we are going to jump on into the actual news of the week now with the news roundup and the news of the week. And we have got a bunch of new games and game announcements to talk about. So obviously, the number one, everybody's finally ready. We're ready. Let's all do it together. Go! Nobody? Fine. Whatever.
Okay, you gotta give me like a 5-second head start on that.
Y'all could have like joined in. I went for a what? That's it.
Like I'm probably the only person
Anthony
who's
here. I'm
actually
putting you in the front.
qualified.
You can have the top corner. You just talk about FIFA. I don't care. Whatever. I'm done. I don't care about soccer anyways. Football. I don't care about football. I don't care.
Okay,
It's fine.
so
I'm kidding.
soccer was like my life though, from like 4 to like 18. So.
Oh wow.
Did you? I have a code for FIFA. I would have given it to you if you
Oh
just
no,
said.
gross! No, I don't ever play like video games. No, that's wrong. You want to play sport? Play this dang sport.
Scarlett, you played soccer?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I was like scouted for college and everything, but they didn't want me because my knee braces.
All right.
Yeah.
You was looking at Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I don't know what that means.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, you wear knee braces.
I know who he is. I just didn't.
I got the reference.
All right.
Like
Dan's a wrestling fan, so he got it. Right, Dan?
Okay.
Scarlett, were you a 4 striker or a back?
Oh no, I
face
played almost every position. In fact, like that's one of the reasons why I was scouted was because I could play almost anything. I hated being center though. I hated being anywhere in the center. Like if it was center mid, I hated it. I always had to be on the edges of the field, so I was always a forward, outside mid, outside defender, striker, or not striker. Sweeper or keeper. I actually like being keeper. It's kind of dangerous. Anywho,
Scarlett with that.
I played soccer
Dangerous.
too in high school when I was a kid, but I played one game and then I quit because.
oh.
That's how I was with karate. I did karate for 3 nights, and then I pretended to get sick and threw up in the bathroom and went home.
I stuck to football and American football, so that way people understand. I stuck to American football and lacrosse. Those were my 2 sports.
Those are good.
Oh.
Speaking of America versus Eli, our good friend Eli is just joining us now, who's always in the chat, and we love you. Yes, because over here in Freedom World, the time has already
Except for
changed.
Arizona.
We get except for Arizona.
Well, we don't count
get
Arizona.
extra summer, so our summer lasts longer, and so that's why it's an hour. But we'll be back to the same for people who are not in the U.S. It'll be normal in like 2 weeks. It's fine.
So, like
so-
all
Hey,
these,
did you
all these
know?
are from like tournaments that we placed in from like all different sorts of years. So it's back to like 2000 2 or something in there. Yeah.
And
Everybody's
guys,
like scanning the thing. I know I am.
trying to see what secrets I have hidden in there.
Could Scarlett have positioned a secret somewhere in the room?
Oh my gosh, not this week.
Not
this is like
week.
People's
I
Playhouse
found it.
over here, brother. Avery,
Has anybody actually played FIFA? Like, does this stupid game matter to anyone on this panel?
Dom did. Dom played it.
bought
on our
it.
channel.
We applaud
I
Dom.
bought the game.
Yeah,
I
Dom
just
played
haven't
it.
had a chance to play it yet.
Yeah,
Dom
bought
played
it.
it, and he had like, I think he had like 60 people watching his stream
Yeah,
at one
the
point, so it was
the
incredibly
largest-
popular
And,
game.
and you got 7 new
Stand
subscribers.
across the
Yeah, it was the largest stream we've had in a couple of months now. Thanks to all of you FIFA fans that tuned into Dom, who
fans.
we love.
Yeah.
Big FIFA fans.
Yeah. Now, did you know Blue Bobs is actually he's currently coaching soccer right now.
Mhm.
He's a soccer.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
He should play the game and like tell us more. We need to get a Dom versus Blue Bobs. We could not
Ooh.
find 2 of our
I'll
staff
play
members
ref.
who are farther apart.
Red card, you. Yellow card, you.
Putting Dom.
Everybody's out. Scarlet wins.
That's you. Yes. How do you win? You change the rules. So, yeah. Anywho, FIFA's out. Go play it. It supposedly runs really, really well. There may or may not be anybody to play it with. We're going to talk about that later. But go play it. Have fun. Enjoy. Anybody else got any thoughts on FIFA? All right.
No.
I hate to pull this up because, again, I don't want to talk about this stupid game, but we're going to talk about this stupid game because
knew it.
Terraria is officially out and it's available now. Or wait, is that a holdover from last week? I thought it came out last week. Did it come out this week?
It's out now. Like it's
Oh,
been out
okay.
this
Came out
week.
today.
As of this, yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
No, today.
And I
yay.
refused to get it. Somebody bought it for me like ages ago, apparently on Steam, and I totally forgot. And I only just discovered this like the other day.
So now you can play through GeForce Now and call it a day. If you subscribe to GeForce Now. I don't know if you do or not.
Oh, well, except they doubled their they got rid of the Founders today, didn't they? They got rid of Founders and raised the price.
Yeah. A lot of GeForce Now news.
They have a new founders though. I don't know what it's called. I just know that I saw something they
priority?
upgraded me.
Is it premium?
I'm
It's
not
like
sure. I got an
premium.
email saying that I got like they updated my founder's license. But if I
Oh.
stop paying on it, then they get rid of then I lose.
Yeah,
and I was
so,
like,
So it's not Founders
people
for
who are
life, then?
already Founders stay as Founders because
Yeah.
I mean you were there for the first year. It's kind of like those of us who became founders of Stadia. Like nobody else can be a founder anymore.
Right.
Yeah, but if
So-
you stop paying, don't you lose the Founders for Life thing, which is not then technically for
I think
life?
so.
I think that's what they said. What the email, at least what I read in my email, was that everybody that signed up for the Founders Edition as of March 17th, then you would get that. But if you stop paying after that, then you don't get to be a founder anymore,
Mhm.
and you can pay for the new tier.
Founders for the life of your subscription.
Yeah.
More
But
so
that
than
makes that
founders.
kind of makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I mean that's
Your
a business
grandfather did.
strategy. Yeah.
But granddad goes in the home if you don't continue to be subscribed. So
You don't pay for them.
yeah, exactly. Terraria, go play it. Block game, woo. We all there's a grudge against Terraria on this podcast because of the temper tantrum that the guy did, and so all of us. I'm sure it's a perfectly lovely game. I'm not going to play it, but we're all just
Hey,
like
hey! I don't have a grudge against the game. Don't
I
take me
hate
out
the
of it.
guy.
Did you
And
buy the
because I hate
game
the
and
guy-
play it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I played it when it was either demo or free on PlayStation years and years ago. But today I watched John Scar and our very own Adam,
Original Penguin.
Used to be.
original Penguin. All right, I'm getting my Penguin.
Alumni, Stadia Source alumnus.
Yeah, there's a new Penguin out there now. But yeah, I watched those two play it today, and I mean, it's a simple looking 2D game. You're digging, and it's not
Apparently-
much.
It sounds boring.
Apparently, the Nerf report wants me to put some respect in my mouth when talking about Terraria. Are you listening, Bryant? Are you listening when I say I hate Terraria?
You tell him.
So it's fine. But yeah, it's a perfectly fine game. Good for them. I hope they sell 100 copies. I'm sure they'll do.
Well, one last thing, Avery, how much is it? Isn't it? What is it, like $7.99 or $8? How much is it?
It was $8.99 UK, so
Terraria available now on Stadia, $8.99 in the UK. Yes, so in that vicinity. A bit of unfortunate gaming news this week. Our good friends at the Borderlands 3, the 2K games, the Gearbox, let us know that unfortunately Borderlands 3 is going to take a little bit of a delay here. As I share my screen to share it with everybody, and just cover up Anthony. No, that was perfect. We're just going to leave that right there. Every week. It's my favorite place to put that. So sadly, obviously, Texas, they're in Gearbox. Gearbox is in Texas for 2K. And like the middle of the United States got pummeled with snow in like places that never get snow. So so they are unfortunately having to bump the director's cut a little bit, adding that, launching that on April 8th instead. So not a whole lot. I think it was supposed to come out this month, so only a couple of months delay there. Not super huge. Has anybody been looking forward to the director's cut? I bought the Ultimate Edition when it was on that ridiculous sale a couple of months ago. So I would get this if I logged in to start to play it.
Yeah, the thing is with this game, I mean, I bought the Ultimate Edition as well. I think I've bought this game about 3 times now because I think I said this on the last podcast as well. I bought it on Xbox when it first came out because it wasn't on Stadia back then. I then bought it again on Stadia because my dad pestered me into getting it and playing it with him, which we never really did. I think we played it once or twice and that was it. And then I saw the Ultimate Edition deal and I was just like, it's just too good not to get. But then the main reason I just don't want to play Borderlands is because and this is, I can't use this excuse for long, but basically I played the game that much on the Xbox. I completed the game, got all these awesome weapons, you know what I mean, completed the game on all the Ultimate Vault Hunter modes and stuff like that. I even started a second character, but then you can't cross progress from Xbox to Stadia. But I dare say if I'd have actually started playing it on Stadia now, by the time we got to this point that I'm at now, I probably would have been far further and far better and far more powerful than what I am on the Xbox version. So technically this isn't really an excuse anymore. I just need to shut up and start playing it, I guess, but we'll see. One day, someday you'll play the game.
One day more.
I think it's the same joke 2 years ago. So yeah, with a lot of crazy weather, but understandable that there's going to be delay. I'm really bad about going back and playing DLC. Like I finished all the Borderlands and then I have the Ultimate Edition, but I haven't played like the Moxie's Heist or like any of that stuff. I got the Tomb Raiders. I never played any of the DLC on that. I got the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I never played any of the DLC on that. I don't know why. I just have this weird block about continuing the story, despite the fact that right now I'm in the middle of Heavensward for Final Fantasy 14. So, no idea.
I bought Final Fantasy 15. I haven't started it yet, though. I'm kind of nervous to see how it. I'm kind of interested to see how it plays on Stadia versus because all I ever remembered of Final Fantasy was PlayStation and Super Nintendo. So those were the last that I ever played with the Final Fantasy series. So I'm not sure.
Somebody on Twitter, it was Chibeze from the Sales and Circuits podcast said that he's never played any of the Final Fantasy games. And I'm like, dude, Final Fantasy 6, aka 3, make it happen. Best RPG of all time. You have to play it. So
now hold up. That because I play Final Fantasy 3 on Nintendo. So is that what you're talking about? Is that in the United States?
So American 3, Japanese 6.
Gotcha. Yeah.
American 2, Japanese 4 is probably my third favorite JRPG of all time, and Chrono Trigger fits right in the middle there. But then Secret of Evermore's, yeah.
Did you ever play Phantasy Star 3?
I was not a Sega Genesis kid, so I did not play a lot of the Phantasy Star games.
I played Super Mario RPG. Does that count?
That is still one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and I wish they would make a true sequel. I love Paper Mario. Paper Mario is great, but Secret of the Seven Stars, great soundtrack, great game.
The graphics, even for Super Nintendo, they were pretty spot on with how nice that game looks, and even in an emulator, it still looks fairly better than some of the games that are out today.
So we're having a weird RPGs.
Oh, sorry. Let's say we're having a weird, far-reaching conversation about gaming that has nothing to do with Stadia. So, but hey, yes. Speaking of Daniel, amazing segue, Danathan. It was fantastic. New game on the
I was
platform.
going to say something else.
Oh, never mind. Then say something else. What was the other thing?
Speaking of RPG games, I mean, I absolutely love the Final Fantasy games, but in terms of RPG as a genre, I don't actually like it that much. It's not that I don't like it, I just don't really have the time to play them because they're usually quite long games. And so I haven't really played any others than Final Fantasy, but I may, if everything goes okay, tomorrow do a live stream of the Dragon Quest game that came out the other day.
Nice.
So as a kind of like, not a complete noob because I have played some RPGs before. I mean, you could technically say that Pokemon's an RPG as well in some respects. But yeah, I'm going to be coming from obviously a newbie point of view. So look out for that. I don't often do streams by myself. So it should be interesting and hope I don't fluff it up, but we'll see.
I played the demo and I actually really enjoyed the demo. Like I'm not really like a turn-based fighter. Like I like open combat. But I mean, Pokemon, oddly enough, is turn-based fighting. But it's just being able to explore that world too and like talk to random people. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played all the Dragon Quest games back on the NES way back in the day. And then I've seen the series, but it feels like a lot of the series has been kind of Japan. Like they haven't brought, or like we only get them years later, unless I'm just horribly mistaken on this. Or they're just on platforms that I don't have, which is also always a possibility because until, now. So yeah, running the trailer for that right now for those of you who are watching YouTube and not on the podcast later. It looks super fun and it's got this really cool system where you can play it with all the 3D graphics, but they've also done the entire game in 2D as well. So you can feel like you're playing a Super Nintendo RPG in the definitive edition. They've completely remastered the soundtrack, done some really cool stuff. They're not even showing it in this launch trailer, the 2D version. So out now on Stadia, just released. It's on sale, I think, for 10% off, something like that. Not a huge sale, but a little bit of a sale. And it's only $40 when not on sale. So, there you go. Currently £27.99 if you wish to pick that up in England. Expires at the end of the month. So take a look at that Gameroo right there. Anybody else got thoughts on Dragon Quest?
It looks cool. That's why I bought it.
It looks cool. I mean, I was watching John Scar play it last night, and he was saying how you could switch the voices, which is cool. So you can have it where it's Japanese, or you can have it English if you want. So that was kind of cool because I like games where they took the time to do voices and you don't read everything. So it's like cool, like each person have a voice. It looks interesting, but I'm curious because of my lack of being an Avery and just stick to one game. I probably would get it and then barely play it, So,
but don't you do that with Marvel Avengers? I'm just calling you out there. You kind of stick to one game when you just do Marvel Avengers all the time, or
Power Rangers. Power Rangers.
No. I recently, if you can't hear, I said I recently started playing Marvel Avengers because the DLC is coming out. So I've been playing it a lot, but I've still been playing a bunch of other stuff. So,
he
I
sticks to 6-1 games.
Look, listen, Dan, you could tell him, right? When I used to be like Destiny, that's all I would just so die hard, one game, one lane. I missed so much stuff. Maybe I would gamefly a game, beat it, send it back. I'm back to Destiny. Or maybe I'll play that game in between, but I'm pretty much Destiny. So I did that with Anthem. I did that with Monster Hunter, and I started doing that with Avengers. And I got to a point I was like, all right. The rest of the world, like I'm missing stuff. And when Stadia came out, and with the Pro, like I've been, I always test the game, play this game. And then with the community network, I got so many other people to play games with. So it stopped me from just being tunnel vision with a game.
So here's a funny story. Like you speak about being engrossed in Destiny 2 and it just almost becoming like a job. Really, with the amount you have to play it and keep up to date with all the week's happenings and stuff in the game. And like back in the day, I remember, I think the first Watch Dogs came out. And I hadn't heard anything about it. And I think I was fully engrossed in the first Destiny at that time. And my then girlfriend come home one day. She's like, I bought you an Xbox game. And I was like, right, okay. And it was the first Watch Dogs. And I was like, right, okay, let's put that over here. Booted up Destiny. And it was like, I think I played it once. And strangely enough, like when I was doing the sales, obviously we've got quite a few sales on Stadia at the moment. I was typing up all the sales, which takes me absolutely ages, but not anymore because I've designed something to help me make it quicker. And I just had this epiphany, like this deep regret that I'd actually upset my ex-girlfriend at the time. Like I didn't realize it at the time, but like she'd gone out and done a nice thing and bought me an Xbox game, thinking Dan's gonna love this, and I just kind of went meh. And like played it for half an hour just to appease her, and then never played it again. So.
Here, sweetheart, I cooked you this wonderful meal. Great hamburger.
Yeah. So I just had this like big wave of regret just flush over me. So on the millionth unlikely opportunity, I can't even say words now. On the unlikely opportunity that she's watching this video now, I apologize. Probably not. Probably still
Dan's
anyway.
ex-girlfriend, we love him. He's better now than he used
Yeah,
to.
I've learned.
It's too funny. There has been a lot. We've had all. Everyone is like, slowed. We've had a lot of little bits of news pertaining to Stadia this week. Another game that we got a release date on, good old-fashioned Disco Elysium, which is a really fun, weird, cool-looking game. Like I never
It's
got
won
a
like
chance
a
to play
flip
it.
ton of awards.
Yes, it was Game of the Year, I think, or at least was a finalist. And it is like this storytelling detective game with this like super watercolor art style, and like you're a detective in this weird world. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, it's very visually appealing.
Apparently,
It's
you
not
can
what I thought
damage
it
your
was gonna
health.
be when I first heard the name Disco Elysium, I was like, I thought it would be something else. For some reason, I thought it was a snowboarding game. But
I would have thought like if I didn't see a video and I just heard the word disco in that whole thing, I would have assumed it was like music.
Yeah, dance game.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Like that's the one thing I would love Stadia to have, is, like a rock band or Guitar Hero. If
Just
we could
Dance,
get
doesn't
that,
it?
yeah, but it's not the same as Guitar Hero where you can just only, because like for me, I loved Guitar Hero. I mean, I only used 2 buttons because if 3 was the max I could do. If you started adding more buttons, then it was just, I would get booed off the stage within like a minute because I just can't, that's too much for me. So
You suck, get off.
thing is, with Just Dance is you actually have to move as well. So
yeah, see, that's another reason I don't play those style games, because that, to me, Just Dance is exercise. And when I play games, one thing I like with Stadia is I can sit on the couch and I don't have to move, unless I get mad at like a game where then I throw a controller because I can't beat it and I rage quit, and then you just see me throw stuff, and it's
and then
never
you
a
have to
fun
go back and bend over and pick the controller back up, which is exercise. So.
But at least
Not
I don't
good.
break my system. I don't break my system. I've done that before with Xboxes, PlayStations, a Super Nintendo. So Stadia, I don't have to worry about that because there ain't no breaking that thing. Unless I break my TV.
Rip the Chromecast out of the back of the thing.
Then you play on your mobile.
Here's how cool Stadia is, right? Imagine if you got mad and threw your controller and broke the TV, right? Then you could just literally say, all right, well, let me pick up my phone and continue.
Right.
Exactly
Not everybody's
where I'm
cool
from.
like you, Anthony, with that foldable phone. We all
That-
can't afford cool things
I know,
like
I heard
that.
you say it. Well,
You're like, that sounds like a problem for future me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. In that sentences, words, Disco Elysium looks cool. It wasn't the only game that we got release dates on. We're also getting the very next day on the 31st, Nanotale Typing Chronicles, which is in the same family as Epistory Typing Chronicles. And then also April 15th, The Dark Side Detective. Now, The Dark Side Detective is Dan, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I believe the release date was for The Dark Side Detective 2, or maybe even it's the prequel. It's not the original game. And then the original game we're supposed to be getting on Stadia Pro, according to that blog post from 8 months ago. So maybe the original one will be one of our April 1st Pro games, but if not, maybe we'll also get that dropped on the 15th.
Okay,
I don't really know.
wait. You said the Dark Side Detective, but it says Darksiders. Does this have anything to do with Darksiders? Or no?
No, that is a typo. That is a typographical error. Yes,
so the Nanotale typing,
Really?
the Nanotale typing chronicles. That's not a typing game, is it? Like where it's considered edutainment. Oh, it is.
Yes, you type like the words that appear in the world to make things happen.
That one Stadia. I'm sorry, but you guys are not getting my money for that game.
No, hold on. I remember they had a phone game. It was really cool. Like you'll type castle.
It was like Typing of the Dead was also like fun.
The last typing game I had was on like a computer game. It was like, I can't even Midnight Rescue or something like that back in the days of DOS, like MS DOS. So that was it. That was my typing game. I can't do, or Number Crunchers was another one. I can't do typing games anymore.
Here's your Nanotale Typing Chronicles. Use your magic, Rosalind. You need practice. So Rosalind types river, and then that forms a river.
This just looks boring. Sorry, this is not going to get my money. This is slow pace. I can't
for everyone.
I can't do slow pace.
Think about it. It's pretty clever. Like if you could just type fire and fire comes, like it's pretty clever.
I could have used
this. Well, you can only really type the words that are on the screen. You can't. You don't get like other. You can't just be like bear and suddenly a bear appears.
That would be kind of cool, though.
That's no. Oh, what was not Scribble Knots? That was that game. Scribble Knots.
Yes. That was cool.
super fun. That would be a fun one to have on Stadia. We need.
This seems like it's picking on the it's jumping on the like the typing games that you have on Android on like the Google Play Store where it's all the swipe and spell letters and things, and it's just I'm sure there's a niche for it.
Words Be Friends.
Yeah, there's a niche for those word games. People like spelling. I mean, that's like a school thing, and I don't like that. So this is not one that the Stadia Vet's going to give a recommendation for. It's not going to be on my channel.
That's okay. Not every game's for everybody, and that's okay. Scarlett, are you excited about Nanotale or The Dark Side Detective or Disco Elysium? Any of these?
I think it's cool to have Disco Elysium coming simply because of how like well rated it is, and like people just love it. And it was like watching those Game Awards a couple of years ago, where like so many times like Disco Elysium wins again, Disco Elysium. It was like, what the heck is this game? Like I had never even heard of it until they're like, and it wins again. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So like I can appreciate it coming to Stadia. I think that's really cool. I don't really care about the detective one. Nanotale Typing Chronicles like seems kind of interesting. Just because like we did a lot of typing games in school when I was a kid. Because like learning to type on a keyboard was like a class when I was in 3rd grade. Like that was a class, was learning to type on a keyboard. Now kids just know how to do it.
Yeah, it's like in their DNA.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I don't get it. I had typing when I was in school too, so
yeah, it's just it's funny. And we had like typing games at home as well. Like my parents bought one for me and my brother to practice at home. So I don't know, it's kind of fun.
I went ahead and threw up the trailer for The Dark Side Detective. Like,
I thought you put a DOS game on there.
It is exactly what it is. This is so the whole thing. This is supposed to feel like those old Sierra Online games.
Oh my god, this one I will buy.
The Monkey
Space
Island
Quest.
And yes,
Yeah.
a Maniac Mansion.
Oh, I love those.
So yes, supposed to feel very retro. Again, we've had a very retro day today. It must be because you're on Bet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely definitely fun. So I'm looking forward to a lot of these games. I think they're kind of cool games. just because there's a lot of news to get through, we're going to spend a little bit of extra time on the news today. One other kind of major announcement that hit today is that Life is Strange is coming to Stadia. In fact, I had the trailer pulled up, and what did I replace in sake of it? Oh, never mind. Okay, well, we're just going to go back over here. Life is Strange. True
Get
colors.
it together, Avery.
I had it up, okay? And it went away, and I don't know why.
Yeah, you know what's cool is my wife, she's really into the Life is Strange. Well, as soon as I watched this today, I texted her. I was like, guess what? They coming out, and I never played them, but she played and beat, I guess, the most recent one.
Yeah.
But,
is this like this is like the choose your own adventure style game where you choose stuff, right? Okay.
Yep.
And then there
I
was
I couldn't get into
Like
this.
Telltale?
Yeah, they
that's what
came
I'm
out
thinking.
in chapters the first time. And then what they've said is that this one, Life is Strange True Colors, is going to be released all at once, but still in chapters. So you don't have to wait for it's not like DLC, or you don't have to wait for the additional chapters to come. They said you can binge play it, which is an interesting way to phrase that. And so, yeah, it's all about this young lady who, a young lady who had a foster brother who was estranged for 8 years, moved to this town to get a fresh start, and gets there, and her foster brother dies. It's not a spoiler. It's literally the setup to the entire game.
Yeah.
And so very music heavy, but of course he died under mysterious circumstances. Was it really an accident? Well, she'll use her magic power of emotional empathy to find out. Each of the games in the Life is Strange series does have a bit of a supernatural element, and this one is empathy. She can feel and sense what other people are feeling. Along with that, they announced Square had a big event today. Outriders, Stadia logo right there, bada boom. They announced that they're doing remasters of the first two games in an Ultimate Edition, and that if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition of Life is Strange True Colors, you will also get the other two remasters included, or you can buy the remasters separately. Originally, if you go to the Stadia, so this is up for pre-order on Stadia.com right now, that does not include the other two Life is Strange games, but Dan, I believe we've had separate confirmation that the remasters are also coming to Stadia. Is that correct? I think you wrote the article on it.
Yeah, they are definitely coming to Stadia. There's been a trailer with the Stadia logo on, and that's actually come from the people that make the games themselves. So the uncertainty was whether you'd get the originals if you pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition of the True Colors game, because there's nothing that says you will get it. But there's also, it could happen on the day. We never know. I'm sure we'll get more confirmation nearer the time. So
that K's game wasn't there a K's or
Kaze.
something that looked like that?
Kaze.
Yes, I saw that. I didn't see much
inner
about
Japanese.
I haven't seen much about it, but when I saw the image, I watched the trailer. It just reminded me Jazz Jackrabbit and some of those other games that I played in the 90s. So I was like, oh, I pre-ordered that as soon as I was able to find it.
It's definitely
It
on
is
my
so
playlist.
good to see. It's so good to see pre-order becoming a thing on Stadia, and more of those, because I think part of it is it really does help the developer to know there actually is some interest. Now, granted, if they're a whole 117 people have pre-ordered this game, that's probably not good, but if they get a few thousand or 10,000 or 100,000,
I think 100. I think 100 is still kind of cool, because out of those 100, how many might be a content creator and just live stream it, and then people watch it and start ooh, I'll buy that now because I saw. I mean, not if it was the typing game, because I'm just not going to buy that one. But I don't like. But the rabbit one, that one was one of the first that I hopped on with the pre-order. Besides, there's been countless others that I've pre-ordered. The human world, the civilization style one, even though I will never live stream that because that will probably bore everybody away from my channel, and then I'll have to shut down.
If you can stream Farming Simulator and people will watch that, then you can stream.
I've seen people stream The Sims and people watch and talk, and I don't get that one. I saw that on Twitch one time, and people watched it on Mixer, and I'm just like, what? Why? And I got sucked into it also, so I can't really say much. But I'm just I just didn't understand how I got sucked into The Sims 4 and someone's talking for all the characters, and I was just like, wow. What has become of myself?
I would love to see if Scarlett did like a sim stream or something, just like anything where Scarlett's just her voice, just being nice and kind.
And today we're going to go into this room and we're going to set up this couch in the corner. It is a lovely paisley couch. We are really getting into the paisley with this room. In fact, we have some paisley wallpaper we're about to put up as well. What color do you think we should put it up as? Vote in the chat right now. Red, orange, or yellow. Go.
You tell me, you tell me you would not watch that stream. Just because with the world being what it is, to just listen to Scarlett just calmly do a thing. If Stadia
should listen to that though. That's a good idea. Get the Sims and add the Stadia features. Get the stream choice and all that. Yes, crowd choice on that. Perfect option.
Scarlett, if you live streamed you putting together the rest of your wood things and just talking about it and just like I'm gonna be putting this.
I mean, I wanted to, but I'd have to move everything upstairs and I'd have to lock myself in this room. And so, because I do everything downstairs on the kitchen table, so I can keep an eye on the house.
But yeah, it would be.
I'll live stream the last 50 that I make. There we go.
There you go. So that'll be a Stadia Source extra, Stadia Source adjacent, because you're a Stadia Source creator, and they might make games out of the Stormlight series at some point.
Right? There already are. Yes.
That might come to Stadia at some point.
Oh no, they're not video games. They're board games.
Well, but they might make video. Everything gets a video game now, like everything. So I'm sure they've optioned it. He's made money.
I'd just like to kind of touch on a point that you made earlier about if like 100 people pre-order it on Stadia, whether they would consider that good or not. But like, I'd like to think that whilst we aren't privy to the amount of users on Stadia, that the people that make these games get some estimate of like, the player base. So if you obviously factor in the fact that Stadia isn't as well established as what PlayStation and Xbox is, they could obviously, what's the reverse of extrapolate? Like the figures to say if you get 100,
infer
that's actually the equivalent of whatever on Xbox as well. So
right,
one can only hope. Well, there is a lot of news. Anthony had to dip out for just a second, having some stream issues there. There's more news on the site that we couldn't even get to today. Lenovo is giving away free Stadia Pro when you buy Lenovo laptops. Assassin's Creed Valhalla had a big update. Gods Will Fall had a big update.
Getting a big update.
Team Stadia did an event, or getting a big update. Like Stadia did a FIFA event today. Dragon Ball Xenoverse got crowd choice and crowd play. Super Bomberman R is going to other platforms, and there will theoretically be crossplay. Have we had that confirmed? Think there's going to be crossplay?
Yeah, there's going to be crossplay.
Yeah.
I'd like to touch on a little bit that if we can.
Yeah, are there any of these headlines that anybody really wants to talk about? So,
well, Doom is also came out today.
Turtle got the Ancient Gods came out. Like
part 2. Ancient Gods part 2.
I think the coolest thing for me was just hearing the news about Stadia, like with the laptop, with gaming, partnering up with a gaming laptop company to like utilize that. That's like, I'm surprised they waited this long. They should have just been doing stuff like that all along. But I don't try to understand what Stadia does because that will make my brain hurt.
Are we doing with a laptop?
So it's Lenovo.
You have to rewatch the podcast.
Oh yeah. I watched it. Literally, like, no, it's fine. Lenovo, we were just running down, like, there's all this news that you could read at stadiasource.com. You never understand. But, like, including Lenovo has formed a partnership with Stadia. If you buy a Lenovo laptop, you get 3 free months of Stadia Pro. So, certain Lenovo laptops. So, like, there's just all of these. There's just so many announcements today.
So 2 things that obviously, one I want to kind of quickly brush on, and then the other one I want to spend maybe
it's your show.
If it's just a minute or 2. So that's a good point actually. So number 1 was also got another Ultimate Edition today, and the Phoenix's Quest, which is an Immortals Phoenix Rising kind of collaboration between the two, which I know Scarlett, who's just disappeared, is a big fan of. The sucky thing about it, though, is that the Ultimate Edition, there was already an Ultimate Edition of Uno, but this new Ultimate Edition, which has made the old one defunct, actually includes the Phoenix's Quest DLC, whereas the old one didn't, and it's exactly the same price. So if you bought the Ultimate Edition before now, you technically got screwed out of an add-on, which is annoying.
It's an
But,
ultimate edition.
I'm kind of
It
miffed
is.
at this right now, actually.
Yeah, but then you
And-
could argue that the add-on for Immortals Phoenix Rising is only like a few pounds anyway. So,
It's more the
Then
principle of the point, though.
yeah, it is the principle. Yeah. The other thing I'd like to touch on is obviously the Super Bomberman losing exclusivity on Stadia, and the fact that obviously a lot of news outlets have kind of picked this up as a bad thing for Stadia, like used it to make one more jab at Stadia that wasn't necessary. And like, I choose to look at it from this point of view, and that is more players for Stadia to play against. Like, because with it being confirmed as having crossplay as well, that obviously means then we can play with PlayStation folk and Xbox folk, which means more players for us. And one of the things that we've noticed, obviously, when you used to do your community playgrounds, Avery, is that unless you were a streamer who had a bunch of people joining your stream, if you tried to play the game, you were just constantly against bots, and that's obviously no good. So, yeah, I just didn't feel the need for them to take this as a jab. As a
You know
reason
what,
to jab
what they
Stadia.
always ask for though, like I always hear people, you know, whether it's podcasts or just people in the community or on Twitter, always they're wanting like, we need more crossplay, like to play with other platforms. I'm like, so how is that a bad thing? Like,
I think what they're getting at is that this was an exclusive, and now it's coming to other platforms. And so they're like, "What? That's terrible." It's like, but literally, PlayStation has been doing this with some of their classics, and nobody gives a rip.
PlayStation
So-
just did that with
Exclusive.
PlayStation just did that with MLB The Show, the
Yeah.
newest one that's been
Well, and-
with PlayStation forever that I can
They did it
remember,
with
is
Horizon
now going to be
Zero
on Xbox.
Dawn and everything. Then I think even Forbidden West is going to do it too. Like nobody actually cares. Gamers want it on more platforms, so
Right.
there's
I
really
mean,
no issue.
we knew it was
Nobody's
a
ever
timed
liked-
exclusive. We knew it was a timed exclusive anyway, and so
Yeah.
it was never like a secret. And like as someone said, as Ray said in the comments there, we got it first. We still get the crowd play features.
It's free.
Which
It's
and
100%
it's
free on
yeah.
Stadia.
And not only that, but I think I've said it on this podcast before about my views on exclusivity. I hate exclusivity because it just means that a certain subset of people can't play a game unless you subscribe to their platform, which when we're talking about consoles is probably true, because obviously you have to put hundreds of pounds down to buy the console. On cloud gaming, it's not so much of an issue because Stadia is free to sign up, but I still hate exclusivity.
Here's a question: how much is Bomberman going to be on other platforms? Do you know?
$418.06.
Yeah, that much.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Outrageous.
Because just imagine this though. This is a really cool thing for Stadia. So let's say you're talking to a friend and you like Stadia, and your friend's like, "Dude, I'm a Bomberman fan. They're finally gonna come out with Bomberman." You're like, "Dude, just get a free Stadia, and you get it for free, right?" So that's gonna be pretty powerful. Like I could have said that for Little Nightmares too, but you would have had to get Pro and pay $9.99. But for Bomberman, you know, that's powerful.
See, you know what? I'm going to say anybody that says that you should buy it on like Xbox over Stadia, I'm just going to use the argument that the Stadia now works on the Edge browser on Xbox. So technically, you can still play it on Xbox, but just buy it on Stadia. So yeah, it works poorly at the moment, but it's bound to get better. So
Yeah.
Well, speaking of crossplay, which we're going to be speaking of, there are obviously so many headlines that we could not get to, but we do want to get to the hot topic for at least a couple minutes. So check out all of the headlines at stadiasource.com. You know what I'm saying? Reviews. You know what? I knew the mob wouldn't go down without a fight, but this is different. They crossed the line for the hot topic.
Ooh, snap.
Yep. It was from The Dark Knight. It's from The Dark Knight. Alfred or Batman talk about they crossed a line. They crossed a line because tonight's hot topic is all about crossplay. Everybody's like, oh, Dom is facepalming in the chat right now. Dom, facepalm emoji in the chat. Hope your pupper's doing good. So this has been a topic that has been kind of buzzing on Twitter. Obviously, due to the time, we're literally only going to spend like 12 minutes on it. But I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to kind of weigh in with some of their thoughts, as we already kind of have been. We've been talking a little bit of crossplay for the night. So kind of the way that I position this in the show notes is crossplay, must have or maybe. Got the facepalm. remotely. Pixar didn't happen. But so I wanted to kind of bring this up just to kind of discuss with the team, like, to you, based on the games that you play, obviously some games this matters for, some games this doesn't. So based on the games that you play, how important is crossplay to you? And is crossplay a deal breaker when it comes to buying a game? This came up because of the FIFA launch. And I just spit all over my microphone and everything. I hope that didn't come out on YouTube. I probably couldn't even, didn't have to point it out, but I did.
Nope,
So
you told on yourself.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan. We'll just wipe you down there. So crossplay. So tell me, I'll start with Vet, of course, as our guest. Just kind of like, is crossplay a deal breaker for you? Are there games that you play that if they didn't have crossplay, you wouldn't play them on Stadia? Kind of talk us through your thoughts on crossplay.
Crossplay is not, for me. It would be a nice feature, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. Half the games I play, I don't know if any of them really have it, and even if they did, I don't even know if I would really even pay attention. I play Red Dead Online. That I almost positive that doesn't, and sometimes I'd rather not have. I mean, I know it opens up getting more people into games like NBA 2K would be great to have that feature, because obviously when the lack of people in the yard or the court or whatever it's called. Yeah, that would be nice to have more people in there. I just don't, but I don't like, I have this weird thing with console players, because the consoles, it just seems that there's a little bit more toxicity with consoles. And then you've also got like Call of Duty. I'm betting that'll probably have crossplay, but I will never play Call of Duty online, because I don't like, the majority of the online players to me are probably like 12-year-old kids. And I would have to turn the mic off, because my channel would probably get flagged for the amount of cuss words that it would pick up from everybody. That's the other reason that sometimes I don't really care to have crossplay. There isn't a game that would be an automatic deal breaker because crossplay is not in it. It's just, I don't care for it. I have enough. Every game that has multiplayer, I can play with the Stadia community, and there's enough of them that it makes me happy. I don't need to bring in the console people, because then I got to listen to them trash talk Stadia, because I'm sure that's what would happen anyways, since the rest of the community likes to do that as it is. So it's not a deal breaker for me at all.
Now, Anthony, you play a lot of games that are multiplayer and all of that. How important is crossplay to you in your gaming world?
So let me start by the companies. I think crossplay is hugely important for the companies, right? So if you got a company that made a game for different platforms, for them, I think it'd be better for them that all their different people who play their game could play together, because more people will probably buy the game. For instance, I kind of got out of Destiny and I got into Stadia. But had Destiny had crossplay, my friends would have, bro, you got to come back and play with me. I was like, well, I really like Stadia, and then I got to go and boot up my PlayStation, but I would have still been playing. So for me, I do think crossplay is important. The other night I played Power Rangers, and I had people on PS Now. People was playing on all different platforms. You couldn't tell the difference, and we just had a ball. We was laughing, joking, and I feel like for me, I've always sat back and said, man, one day if Xbox and PlayStation people could play together, because I have a bunch of friends that's diehard Xbox, and I became a diehard PlayStation, but we're still friends. And all right, perfect example, Marvel Avengers. I got Marvel Avengers, and my good friend Joe, we play everything together, and Verizon gave him a free code to get the game, and he was going to get it on Stadia. But when they gave him a free code and Stadia wasn't included, he was like, bro, I'm sorry, but I got to get it on PlayStation. I was like, I get it, because I was recently a PlayStation guy. So had it had crossplay, we would have still, I know a bunch of people that misses me from being on PlayStation, but I just prefer Stadia. So for me, I think crossplay is hugely important. Now, the question was it a deal breaker? No, it's not a deal breaker. I think what Vet said is kind of cool. What I learned when I left Destiny and got into Anthem is any game you get into, there is a community. And I literally with Avengers, I built my own community for that reason. So if you just go on Facebook and go community, whatever, you're going to find a bunch of people who diehard love these games, and you'll have new people to play with. You might can't play with your friends, but you'll find people. So it's not a deal breaker, but I personally think every game should have crossplay. Why not? And,
So Scarlett, I know you don't. You play a lot of single player games and adventure kind of games as well. Is crossplay important to you? Like maybe as maybe not for the games that you play, but in the community, kind of walk us through your thoughts.
So I think for those who have been around to hear me talk about my thoughts on gaming, you'll recognize the theme here. It doesn't apply to me personally, but I can appreciate what it does for the community. I was the same way with Cyberpunk. I was the same way with quite a few things. Like, it doesn't apply to me personally. Like, I don't play a lot of online games, a lot of MMOs, any of that kind of stuff. Like, when I do, though, I'm usually playing with my friends, so people I already know, because I just don't want to deal with strangers. So, I can appreciate what this will bring to any community, whether it is the Stadia community, the Xbox community, the PlayStation, whatever, any gaming community, because it just opens the door for so much more new people to play against. Like, maybe you're tired of playing against the same other 63 people on Super Bomberman, or, maybe you're tired of always getting stuck with everybody who plays as a hunter on Destiny 2. So now you're actually going to get in there and play with some Titans or whatever. It just opens up so much more, and so it's exciting.
And Dane, of course, you've got history with like Destiny, where the more players than needed for raids and things of that nature. Walk us through your thoughts.
I mean, I'd like to point out the fact that, up until recently, my father was an even bigger Destiny fan than I am. And one of his biggest complaints, he comes to me like I own Stadia for some reason. Like, I think for the longest time, he actually thought I did run Stadia. But, he used to come to me and say, I can never find anybody to play a raid with on Destiny. I can never find people to play. Obviously, all the other consoles are full up to the brim with people. You can't get enough people. But Stadia, it's just, the same few people over and over again. So there's that. But I think, for me personally, I remember way back when you had your Xbox and your PlayStation and there was no connectivity between the two whatsoever. And I remember sitting talking to my friends at the time thinking, wouldn't it be great if one day we actually could play these games cross-play? And we'd already had the chat about the exclusivity being bad for gamers. They disagree with me on it, and we ended up having this big massive debate in the middle of a pub one evening, but whatever. And to me, this would be the last hurdle. I mean, obviously, we're never going to get rid of exclusivity because, for example, Nintendo are never going to release Pokemon on another console, or Mario on the Xbox, for example. But to me, these are the last two hurdles between of complete unity between gamers. You get rid of as many exclusives as you can, which is never going to happen, but. So because we can't get rid of exclusives, then at least let's make it so that the games that we can play together. And I think with it being 2021 and the technology we have nowadays, it's almost like it should almost be expected, in my opinion, because we know it can be done. We know it works well. Why wouldn't you put it in? I'm pretty sure nowadays it's not too difficult. And obviously, depending on the game engine that you use to build your game, I'm sure there's more work required in some than others, but I just don't understand the mentality, because the thing is with a lot of these games as well, like Red Dead, for example, Anthony, you might be able to fill me in on this. Is Red Dead, is the online mode and the story mode separate?
Yeah.
So a lot of games, including GTA and even Call of Duty, for example, you can play those games in single player mode and not have to deal with anybody else from online mode. But wouldn't it be great if one day, like Anthony said, his friend does have a copy of the game on another platform and you want to play together? I would rather have the option to play together and not use it than want it and not have it, if that makes sense. So I think that's my stance on it. Just give people the option, and give them an alternative option as well. So if they don't want to, they don't have to. Or maybe add a checkbox in there, allow me to match up with only Stadia players or everybody.
Dan, here's the thing: Power Rangers, you could literally turn on or forget Power Rangers. Everybody is interested in Outriders, right? Mm-hmm. You could turn crossplay on or off. It's a setting. Yeah. So let's say Vet, like he said, he doesn't want to play with some of the people. He could turn it off and just say, well, I can't match with anybody because crossplay is off. So I feel like the point you make is great. Let it be an option because you could turn it on.
To
or
me,
turn
it's
it off.
always about choice.
Yeah.
Because
you give me
I
the
mean,
more choices is better for everybody. Yeah,
I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and want it. That's the be all and end all for me personally.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. Like I don't play any games that really require it. I don't really play a lot of multiplayer games. Like I obviously, other than the MMOs, I don't do racing games. I don't do sports games. I don't do shooters. I don't do games that necessitate needing to group with other people. And this is the kind of the root of the one game at a time problem. It's because I play narratives. I play games where it's like I want to finish the book. I want to finish the movie. I want to finish the series. It's the same thing with games. I want to finish the game. And so I would bounce around more if it weren't for that part of my brain that wants to see a story start and end. And so crossplay doesn't really matter to me, but I understand. I'm almost of two minds when it comes to crossplay on Stadia. I think regardless of what other platforms do, Stadia kind of needs it. It needs it because the audience, the pool isn't there yet. In 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we will have millions of people playing on Stadia. But let's be real. Right now, we probably have hundreds of thousands, maybe a million, maybe if we're lucky. And not all of those are going to be playing the same games. Not all of those are going to be playing, there's enough games to play. A lot of people playing Stadia Pro games. A lot of Stadia Pro games are narrative games or puzzle games or family games. And they're crossplay. I love to have crossplay in stacks on stacks on stacks, but I don't really need it because I don't really have anything other than Steam. And so I see the value in it, and I see the value for other folks. And I think if it weren't that Stadia just kind of needs more. Like you gotta have somebody to play with. It's almost it's a cycle. Like if you start to play a game and there's nobody to play it with, you're not gonna want to play that game anymore. If it's a game that needs it, would that be a reason to not buy? It really depends on what you're doing. If you wanted to play FIFA, for example, because you really care about the campaign mode and you want to build your own team and you want to play the game and you want to see how you do, great. But if you want to play with everybody else, maybe number one, if it doesn't have crossplay, Stadia might not be the platform to buy it on. Like, it's not really a situation where you can say Stadia is awful because it doesn't have crossplay. Crossplay is a platform decision or is a publisher decision, not a platform decision. So it's tricky in that regard, but I can see why people would want to have it. And I'm right there with you, Dan. There's no reason to not do it at this point. So many games have crossplay that we know that crossplay works. So there's no reason. You can't just spend the extra dev hours to put in crossplay. You're going to spend those dev hours putting in microtransactions. You're going to spend those dev hours putting in crazy hats that you can buy. Spend the dev hours putting in crossplay because then more people will buy it for that platform. So, it's kind of the boat I'm in. Dan, I know you had another bit to add.
Yeah, I wanted to add to this as well. So there's obviously been a bit of controversy today on the Twitter sphere. And I'm not going to name any names, albeit to say that the person who kind of put this article out, I love the guy and he's a dear friend of mine, but I have to sincerely disagree with what he wrote. And that is that like buying FIFA, for example, today and then refunding it instantly because there was a low player base. And I want to bring up I think, Avery, you nearly said these words earlier, and that was the self-fulfilling prophecy. I think you were going to say it, and then you kind of said something else. But
that phrase didn't come out of my brain for some reason.
But the idea that you should because there's no players on Stadia, then you should also ditch it, meaning there's less players on Stadia. It's a tough one because also I understand the opposite side of things, that if you do stick around, then you are just one person extra on Stadia that wouldn't have been there otherwise. But it's that strength in numbers as well. If every single person who bought the game decided, there's not many people online, so I'm going to trade the game in, and you know what I mean, then that's one extra person who's now not online for anybody else to play with as well. So
right, it's a slippery slope.
I know that there's no clear answer to it, but I think at this point we should go into these decisions with our eyes open. Stadia is very new still, and we knew that there was probably not going to be as wide a player base on Stadia as what there was other consoles, especially given that FIFA is an older game as well and has been out for months and months on other consoles. So, people not only probably wouldn't buy it on Stadia because they've already got it on an Xbox or PlayStation, but then those that are likely to buy it might have already played the hell out of it and don't want to play it anymore. So,
well, let me take a stab at it real quick. Let me spend a quick minute. So I want to look at it in a different way, right? So it's a lot of negative, like, well, the player base is low, so maybe you shouldn't get on Stadia. But what if it's somebody like me who's been playing games my whole life, right? And I love games, but I also like tech. Hence the fold-in phone, right? And I just enjoy the heck out of Stadia. I could literally switch a game I'm playing right now to my phone and then to my TV like this. When I used to play PlayStation all the time, and the kids came in, they was making all this noise, I would have to tell my friends, hey, I gotta leave the game, I gotta shut it down. And if I was streaming, the stream had to end, right? For me to switch from my PlayStation to in the living room to the bedroom. So let's just say I enjoy and love, and this is my true use case. I'll use that term that Chase like to use. So this is my true use case, right? I love the tech. When I had to download Outriders to play the demo, and I haven't played my PlayStation or downloaded anything on my PlayStation, I was like, oh my God, like it was driving me crazy. And I was like, yo, if Stadia does go under, I might just not play video games, but I have to be in another cloud, because for me, like, worrying about space and worrying about downloads, right, is killing me. Now, for me, I have friends that's like, I got a real good buddy of mine. I bought Marvel Avengers on here, and he bought it on place. He's like, man, I wish we could play so bad. So I'm looking at it differently. There are tech enthusiasts, right? A lot of people said most people that get Stadia is tech enthusiasts, right? But they left the community they used to have, and they had a bunch of friends, and they're still friends, but we just can't play. So I feel like crossplay for that, not to be like, oh, well, it can help Stadia get more people, just for the fact that I like the tech, but my friends that I'm close with, they still didn't want to adjust. And I want to play Destiny with them or whatever, but they don't want to get cloud gaming. So it's not to say, oh, Stadia don't have no players. That is true, right? I'm not saying it's not, but there's a different side to it that some people don't want to get the tech yet. Some people don't feel like cloud is ready, and that's fine, but I would love to still play with them, and I can't. So for that, cross-play is very important.
Well, I think we've probably beaten the crossplay horse to death a little bit tonight. My
horse in the back
is right. He put the horse back up. Did you get kicked out of Bridgerton? You had to go back to the farm.
Yeah,
sold the mansion.
I really just went and sat down at somebody's property, and they seen me. Like, hey, buddy.
Can you just you gotta go. Well, we want your thoughts obviously on this. I don't know that crossplay good bad is the best thing to say. So if you want to put some input into this, head over to Twitter, tweet us at Stadiasaurus, and let us know the game that does not have crossplay right now that you really, really, really think needs to have crossplay. Okay, so go ahead and tweet that at us. Stick around. I know we're doing the wrap-up bit, but stick around. I got some announcements to make, so you want to hear this. Obviously, Vet, so good to have you on the show tonight. Loved your insight. You had a lot to contribute, and it was good to have your crazy SOB perspective.
As I veered us off into the retro stuff and everything, every other which way.
We'll start a retro podcast. Me and you. We'll compete with Clive and Rob on the US side. Tell us if people do not know where to find you on the interwebs. Tell them where they can go.
You can head to Twitch at Stadia Vet Gaming. YouTube, I'm under Stadia Vet Gaming. Twitter, Stadia Vet Gaming is everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Gaming, Instagram. That's about as far as I go. I don't have Stadia Vet has not invaded the snaps, and I don't do that. I don't understand that. My kids use it. You will not see this on that app. So otherwise, and Discord. I'm with the older stuff. I don't do the new stuff.
Very cool. That's okay. I'm with the same. Stadia. We got Stadia Vet Gaming and there's Stadia Dad Gaming, and Stadia Vet, the Stadia Dad, is also playing some stuff.
And Stadia.
So we're So we appreciate you being on the show tonight. I'm sure, and you're going to deal with that. So no problem. But good to have you on the show. Coming up on the podcast, now that I'm booking out, I want to kind of announce these because these are kind of cool. We've got 2 really cool guests coming up. Next week's special guest is a former lineman for the Oakland Raiders and the St. Louis Rams. It's a guy by the name of Joe Barksdale, who's a draft pick, an NFL draft pick, and Stadia super fan. He's got a tech channel on YouTube that he's posting some Stadia videos on. He's a musician, really cool guy. So he's going to be our guest next week. An NFL linebacker, Stadia fan. It's one of the coolest guests we've ever had. Not that Stadia Vet is not an awesome guest, because he is. And our other guest, 2 weeks from tonight, no fooling, we've got Todd Oxtra, host of the Secret Friends Unite podcast. Scarlett's been a guest on that show. I've been a guest on another show on their channel. And we're glad to have him on our channel that night. But you do not want to miss our show on April 1st.
Be
I'm
there.
saying it right now. You do not want to miss our show on April 1st. There's going to be a big announcement. Big.
Cool
April
stuff.
1st.
Hashtag
great stuff coming on April 1st. And this is not a joke. No April Fools on this. So do not miss that joke. April 1st. I want tell your friends. Bring a buddy. Everybody. I want to see 100 people in the chat that night. Big night.
So we kept saying stuff. Don't let it be like good stuff. Don't let it be like don't let it be like good stuff. And then April 1st coming, people like, man, that was a little 5-minute thing.
Yeah, great stuff. It's great stuff. You know what the stuff is. You know it's great stuff. Don't be plugging none of my statements for people. I ain't gonna tell you nothing. Okay. And if you want to see it's the glory.
New stream.
I love it because I have kids too, so I totally feel the pain right now.
Yeah. If you want to see some banging stuff on Stadia, some great stuff, check out the Stream Team Dream Team playing Stadia all week long right here on the Source Feed Live, including Scarlett's Ready Gamer 1 at some point, All Purpose Chance Power Up Plus right after this stream, F-Tindo's Dad Time Gaming and Brews and Bruises, Stadia Domination and Dom by Daylight with Dom, Blue Bob's a Break Even Point, and the Hotspot from Ejimix, and maybe here in the next couple of weeks, a little bit of Friday Night Live with yours truly, Charm City. Stay tuned. You'll be seeing that coming a little bit. If you've been watching us in the chat, we love it. We love you. Such a great chat tonight, and all of our favorite people in that chat tonight, as well as other people that we love. The folks who support us on YouTube and Patreon and buy us coffee and all that good stuff, including our guest tonight is in the Crystal tier, along with Jack and Stadia Streamer. And then the Platinum tier folks, the Gold tier, the Silver tier, the Bronze tier, and all those folks. Hey, we got one more person who bought us a coffee. John bought us a coffee after last week's show, I'm betting, because he knows how exciting that makes me. So, Bet, we were saying nice things about you because you're one of our Crystal tier people. And I didn't even have to reach out to you to offer you to be on the show because you were on the show anyways. But by podcast. So, hey, you use
those vet bucks.
Yes, well, I do like to drop my vet bucks everywhere.
You call them vet bucks.
And I almost called them V-Bucks, and I was like, wait, I'm going to get sued by Epic. So let's not do that because Epic likes to sue people if they took on Apple. So I was just like, I'm going to rename that Vet Bucks because it sounds better.
So if you want to drop some of your own bucks on us, hit that join us on YouTube button, buy us a coffee. It really does help. All the cool things that you see us do, like the videos and the website itself, which is not cheap to maintain, even though Dan volunteers all of his time, but we buy him a coffee every so often. Costs money. So we appreciate all of you who give over to your favorite community, cloud gaming on Stadia Source. We love you. So thank you for doing that. Sentences and words. If you are, that just leaves me to say thank you. And good night to all the folks on the podcast. Daniel, Danathan, Danjamin, thank you for being on your show.
Thank you for having me on my show as always.
Scarlett, so good to hang out with you on a Thursday evening as always as well.
Bye, fam.
Anthony, so if you want to, as always,
It's awesome being here, guys. I love it.
If you are listening to us on the podcast, you can join us live most Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can download our podcast on Spotify, Pocket Casts, and wherever it is that you happen to get podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Stadiasaurus. Like us on Facebook. Send me some confetti cake. It's my birthday tomorrow. And join us our Discord on stadiasaurus.com/Discord. You can even wear Stadiasaurus when you're out about with limited time access to some limited time merch. Head over to stadiasaurus.com/merch. That stuff's going away, guys. It's going away. And I've actually seen a couple of folks tweet that they've bought stuff lately.
It's not all going away. It's just things are
everything. I'm ruining all of
I'm just upgrading because I have access to more new fun things. So they're getting upgrades.
Guys, I'm selling this hat for $499. All right.
He wants to buy an Xbox.
You're not getting any vet bucks with that. I'll get the upgraded stuff.
I gotta get through the stuff, you guys.
I'm sorry.
By Rock. You can find out more about the technical expertise of Rock at rokk.co.uk. If you haven't already, there's a thumbs up button down below this episode right now that lets us know you like the show, and a subscribe button right next to us that lets you know every time we post a video. I'm backwards on everything today. You can also become a member of the Stadia Source channel, like Stadia Vet Gaming, by hitting that thumbs up button, by hitting the join button down below. Gosh in heaven, that's it. I've been your host, Avery. This is Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. You know the drill. We love you guys. Have a great rest of your week and a fantastic weekend. Bye, everybody.